scríofa cardia agus fáilte hiag ihe chultúir. An téma a bheith aflé agin ná an teanga Gaeilge agus bhála manis duine a chur in aithne dóibh. Ibríonn sé mar ifigach Gaeilge faoi láthair I gcomharla chunda an chlár ach in Norig scríobh sé alt sa fápar nuachta the Clare Champion dar tidal Irish There is Healing in the Language. Agus tá leabhar scríofa aige chomai dar tidal Coming Home, One Man's Return to the Irish Language. Michael McCaughan tá fáilte róit, tá súlagam go bhfuil go mai.
Míle maithagad tá ma chuaimhnas an seo sa bhreadan.
Go híntach. Michael, dús an diglaat an righteous healing a chur I ggóthaigh stúin. An raibh tú a déanamh tagart don coronavirus ag an am nó cad a bhí siúlagat ag scríban al sin.
Ní rá dús bechord am rá gur scríomh mé thosaigh mé déanamh taide den leabhar beidir 5 bliain ó hin agus thosaigh an sin an tréimhse ina rá mé ag scríomh Gadírak cabadal inig cabadal ná trí nó ceirle bliain ó hin, so bhí sé scríofa bhí sé críochnatha gom solar thosaigh an fandéim. Agus so riar a buinean an terma leis le rud bhád níos lethna ná ospedéil agus vírus agus rudí mar sin. Buinean sé in riar a píre le cuasaí psicolaíochta, mar nuair a chosaimid amach ag caint faoin Gaeilge agus an faoin teanga, níl se cosúla le bheith ag caint faoi teanga eile Spáinise nó Francaiche agus tír thorsáile nó rud mar sin nó fiú caithfheimsere. Tá muid ag caint faoi rud ábhar cainte atá sáite is tí linn. Agus is cuma cén dearlacha dúilteach nó dearfach a bheith agat an teanga churann sé is ábhar a churann isteach airling mar tá sé beo ó chosamar an scoil go dtí an ardteist agus ina dhí sin tá sé de feicáil tá cóthaíocht da cloise mé feicimid sé bíon an Taoiseach, fiú an focail an Taoiseach, ní Prime Minister atá againn ach Taoiseach agus an leis atá gceist ná beidir an iarracht nó an obair go mo cóirúing a dhéanamh teacht tríd an bagáiste nó an baggage atá in our héal go háirithe mar fáistí agus déagóirí ag breanúir an teanga mar ábhar scrúdú agus ní mar ábhar atá in our crí agus san éireacht agus atá fós beo agus spreagúil.
So tá fáib agat maidir leis an slí bhfuil an Gaeilge á múna inar gcóras idirchas.
Oh, and Kevin will, yeah. Kevin will is built is ni minica a hermatner when he knock will fiber Marta she soler mocher into an mage ibra on mage ama is G in over Egan mar hampla domarodeger hosmer amok egg le erdish kjol on fiddle on idle no fadog stone agus rinaway Seachtain in ag seachtainna ó ceann ó 5 bliain díos go dtí 8 bliain díos agus ní raibh ar pert bunúslach a chaasú be muid ag smaoinemh céir a chomhairla an mise an bhfuil an aib lomsa an bhfuil an aib leis an múntóir an bhfuil an aib an bhaineann an aib leis an chóras iadachais. So tá sé tharbheith tábhaach go mé mís onric faoin chóras iadachas agus cumála sin onric faoi Keiko Shrianta is atá over cosú leis an Gaeilge nó éon over is trí sa siomra ranga agus go thomláin dúnta agus fágathí sa siomra ranga agus ní hagann sé amach ní réon air ní sé mu faoin air ach go bháin nuair a héan daoine na déagóirí go fada leis an Gaeltacht. Sa saoirigh agus buineann siad céir a tharla an sin, bíonn siad ag cuiinú sa carclós nuair a hagan na tuismothirí agus iad a thuirt a reis go bailíoch an cliath nó go bé áid eile. So tá Barna ann, ní eicem ní chreidim go bhfuil an aib leis an teanga hain, is teanga é, agus is ceist cumarsáid é, ach nuair atá cóheics agus an áid ceart cosú leis an Gaeltacht, an spree, dégóirí le chéile, céili, grá, flirtation, no, just teanga bheo I gceist stoppelmid ag breanú mar aib agus tusnómid ag breanú mar earlish sheol, earlish barsanta, earlish álan agus nasc láidir leis an sé léithúil agus ní amháin na leabhar a gramadí sa seomranga ag gcónaí dírithe scrúdú.
Agus cé go tábhad, cén ról atá ag na tuismitheoirí maidir leis an Gaeilge. Go háirithe ó thaobh páistí a freastalíonn ar na Gaelscoileanna.
Arbh tábhaach. Ach tá tú caiim faoi gá ábhar difriúil. An rud amháin Gaelscoileaní rud eile an scoil béarla mar champla. So tá gá rud I gceist cosú le gá becor go méid gá scrúdú a gceist, becor go méid gá córdas a gceist. Mar má haon páiste ógus deach agus tá tom idachas a gceist sin rud go hiomlán ná dúrtha agus teochaí an teanga gan stró. Ní gan stróach. You know, an cináil na gnéthe céanis atá géan éon teanga. Ach má haon tú is deach cosú lumsa St. Michael's College, Boher Aylesbury in Lá Clia, ní rah éon cóheics níos leithna ná an seomranga. Ach, tuigim gfuil an imeacht se dá hangach agus díreithe ghuioine beidir nach bhfuil Gaeilge lífa acu nó fiú mór an Gaeilge. So there he may have made sure in Maryland, in O'Rear díreithe hismóirí. So there's a phrase I always come back to, which is, and it's not simply about language. I think it goes with other habits that we form. And that is that the greatest predictor of a child's attitude to Irish or anything will be what is the attitude of the parents towards that thing. And I think that goes for alcohol, it goes for Irish, it goes for sport, it goes for many, many, many things. So I go sin ní féidir na smathóirí rá, well, gata na scoile, fági mé má fáiste gata na scoile, Gaelscoil nó gan a bheith Gaelscoil ann, agus beag an tuicis siad a bhaile leis an Gaeilge, agus sin job done. Ceapam.
Cé có deacair tá sé an Gaeilge a eolalam nó a labhairt más rud é nach cantóir dúchas tú. Cé go deacair tá sé
Is deacair an rud é aon teanga a eolalam nó aon rud a dhéanamh. Tá misid mar champla teach a thógáil. Tá sé sin fear deacair man bhfuil aon taithí agat ar cuasaí tógála. An rud céine leis an le uair seol, an rud céine leis an teanga. Ach buine sé gcónaí leis an meon atá ann. So what type of mindset are you bringing to this learning experience? Are you bringing one of struggle? Are you bringing reluctance to this? So you see into síos agus beidir goil tu déanamh ranganí de gcuoine fásta in áit éigean agus, you know, uair amháin sa seachtain nó gá uair an agna seachtainna tá lá, you know, bhí lá oibre agat, tá an duine air le déanamh agat fós, tá sin na seachta chlog, tá tú ag titid a chola agus tá tú sitjes jack a shumra ranga egg foulam. Na brihira, Jesus, a reach Ella. We're back learning verbs, sitting in a room at 7 o'clock in the evening, and we're 40 plus years of age, or older in my case.
Will you again of Taggart and Ishton Gaelbore?
Well, Shinrod Ella on Gaelbore Shinrod of winning le'ain kinol factus no rudata Beiger fuivru. So ta changa fuivru, ta myon changa a going lunahe I mask on Verla. Tom Verla dermegoni gwilchi kasulish and Japanese knotweed. So Tom Verla eg fos a chulla oids mar is changa down the is changa on internet, is changa Chultúir, na scanán, na srá telefíse, an ceol, rap ceol gachrad. Now, obviously, tá galore le clustáil in Gaeilge freisin, but tá tú quaint faoin gréasón mór míltach béarla ag cosú le scamal atá harding i gcónaí. So the English language is there, it's inevitable, it's huge, and it sucks up an awful lot of space in our lives. Because sin mar atá, like agus ní féidir é a hacant ach a bhhaim atá tú in neadidir céáid sin a bhfuil tú an é a hacant in ish. Fiú guidóir nó an Catherine Rua, you know, tá sé sulir go bhfuil daoine bogus teach amach. You know, the day of the monoglot, daoine bhfuil nach bhfuil ach éon teanga agus an Gaeilge acu, tá sé hart, you know, neadidir an bhfuil éon daoine, éon monoglot fág hís a tíir seo. An Gaelbore is over eile agus bí me gcónaí ag smaoinú ní bhuailm le Gaelbores sa Gaeltacht ach taobh a muit den Gaeltacht ceapan beidir go bhfuil daoine ar a chosant maidir leis an teanga. People get quite defensive about the language because they love it. Tá grá acu agus tá siad really ag iarraidh go mbeadh chuile guine ar an leathanach céan is atá iad san. So it'd be lovely if everybody felt the same way about Irish and we could just get on with it and bring the language back, because cínte tá sé deacra é a abhalam, but is féidir. You know, it is very doable, and as soon as you start, you begin to walk. Is ceist, you know, in Spanish dúirt fila mór le rá Antonio Machado, el camino se hace al andar. You find the road by walking it. You find the path by walking it, not by standing in one place and saying, I don't see any path. You know, it's impossible. So the Gaelbore is dinne beidir a bhfuil an umarcha béima chórsaí teanga agus an mar achtasóir as a campaigner. So current sé isteach ar gcuoine tá tú teach tábhar nó café nó ag caint le daoine am dinner tá grúpa slua duine le chéile agus tá beidir Gaeilge a bháin, duine bháin bhfuil Gaeilge acu agus an ceist céine. So what about Irish, you know? Agus tá sé, you know, it's tempting to get defensive and say, well, you know, it's a beautiful language, it's an easy language, it's this, it's that, it's been here forever, it's what we are, it's shaped us. Ach orintanta bí me swin of just fágé, like Bacorga make Dini Beidir Gaimshu of Alachin Chuig an Teanga. Everybody maybe finds their own way to the language, and it's not always helpful to sort of push people towards something. It often has the opposite effect. But you know, it's tigam céim fág bhfuil daoine cosantach leis an teanga.
Agus úsáideann tú na fógaí báis chun fiabhas a chur do chuid Gaeilge. Inis rud beag dúin faoi sin. Bhí tú léamh na fógaí báis.
Well, dús tá tú ag géirí graime áil rud éigean sa teanga. You know, there's nothing to hold on to, mar you know, búlam le daoine bhfuil Gaeilge acu agus bíonn cúpla ábhairt le chéile going cecha bhfuil tú, you know, conas atá cuasaí leat ach deire le sin, go scopi tugan deire le sin, mar níl tú an dul níos dimhne sa chomhrá. You know, there's a natural end to a conversation when it's getting deeper. Agus níl an stórfacail agat, níl an commas ort é a dhéanamh. So ar an radio agus, you know, imachás hain agus, you know, tá gacail le gcuine difriúil ó chéile, so beidir nach bhfuil sé sin nach meag sé chuí nó arúnach do chuile gcuine, but imachás hain. Radio na Gaeltachta on radio, you know, the radio doesn't jump out and ask you questions and demand grammar and demand anything of you. So tá fuaman in teanga ag dulasteach, the sounds are going in a very natural way, gan bhrú, gan stro, agus is féidir leat, you know, cúig nóid, 10 nóid, cúig nóid 10. Ach rud amháin, bíonn tú ag géirí graime áil rud éigean agus na fógraí báis, bíonn siad le chluistóil seach nó 8 nuaire in aige an lei radio na Gaeltachta. So clusan tú na nanam nach a céine, bíonn siad a kaint faoin Gael atá idir gooine, you know, such and such sister, brother, partner, family, deceased, predeceased, etc., age, place. Agus sin cinál, you know, bhí mé brasásta go raibh just léirscáil no piece of beag den mir and Amari. It's like a language is a bit of a jigsaw puzzle or a code. And it was very satisfying to be able to contain a small piece of that and bit by bit each day become familiar and feel like when the Fogarty Bosch came on, I was, you know, I could understand beginning, middle and end what it was about. Agus sin rud beidir scopi, sin hug sin thurla physical dumb, you know, a concrete result from this language acquisition, which is difficult in the beginning, but it's not always difficult.
Éirinn sé ní séasca.
Éirinn sé ní séasca, yeah.
Agus I de leabhar scríobh tú, úsáideann tú an focail an phrása Jailtacht. Cad atá gceist leis an focail sin? Bhfuil tú
Buine sin le Tuaisceart na Éirinn agus an agus chumáile sin cuasaí géibhann mar sna dachadaí credim na chuigadaí nuair a bhí an emergency mar déircha anseo chuirú daoine go súla Martin O'Cahon you know, alleged subversives chuirú imáid they were interned agus as an nuair bhí siad, you know, bhí siad sáteas deach le chéile gan mór an le déanamh ach a bheith ag fannach there conas éilú nó conas an tlí amach. So chosig siad ag caint Gaeilge le chéile agus daoine a bhí in an Gaeilge a labhairt chosig siad ag múnú do gooine eile. An rud céine Tuaisceart de Éirinn na H blocks, just is cinál scéal fad agus scéal gear. Daoine scéal gear as. Ach an Jailtacht sin gá acha le chéile, Gaeltacht agus jail. So nuair a bhí grúpi mór duine dúntasteach sa H blocks, rinne block amháin mar Gaeltacht. Ach obviously Jailtacht mar bhí siad sa jail. Agus nuair a thrasnig tú táirse chun deirle sin, so as soon as you walked into that block, you know, dumping to an Gaeilge. It was an Irish-speaking area. Hut, H block hut, the old war huts from the British from the Second World War. So, site Ulskull a bhí a gceist, ach Ulskull practicúil bio in Raudini ag caint le chéile faoi cuasaí politiúil, faoi, you know, cócaracht, faoi just an gná héal. Bhí daoine an cumarsáid a dhéanamh le chéile agus do mar rud é go raibh tusa lífing Gaeilge, bhí tú ag cabhla duine eile a bhí písing Gaeilge, an duine a bhí beag an Gaeilge acu, bhí siad ag fáilm cúpla focail do gcuine eile, so bhí cinál chain ann a bhí ag dul ó duine a bhí lífa go dtí an duine a bhí just cúpla focail agus gaciile gcuine ag cabhla le chéile. It's almost like a peer mentoring arrangement whereby anybody who has a lot of Irish is teaching somebody else who has a little, and the person with a little teaches a person who has virtually none, so that everybody becomes a teacher over time and everyone is fully participating, and it's not a judgmental thing. Is an rud a bhí ann tá sí soléir ó na aglah a rinne mé go raibh daoine, you know, go raibh muoín agus misnach agus nach raibh fatias ar chuoine just a chuid focail a rá. So an atmosphere in which you can speak your Irish without fear of being judged or punished or whatever.
Agus an tuairmatá agat ná bhfuil an Gaeilge anna leidir sa Tuaisceart chumáid agus mar dearann tú the way Irish is taught in the north, you said it blew you away.
Yeah. is just tá cóhéics go thomláin difriúil sa Tuaisceart agus nuair a chuin mé ann rinne mé turas ann dús ceap mé go mé ag scríomh cabdal amháin agus just ag déanamh tagart den Gaeilge sa Tuaisceart mar tá omar go bachan í ann. Bhí sé beagnach mí gleathach, bhí sé mí gleathach an Gaeilge chur chun cinn sa Tuaisceart. It was seen as something very suspect, something very linked to a movement, a subversive movement, and something that was dangerous and to be suppressed. So, sna seachtaí, bóthar seoige agus an chéad scoil, a Gaelscoil Belfirste, thosaigh an glúiseach just ag neartú. Agus the Clúan Ord ann. So there's basically sort of three foundational pillars. Clúan Ord, a really important center for learning. Bóthar seoige is the Eisiomlóir. Actually having homes that declare themselves a Gaeltacht is like declaring a certain autonomy. Agus rinne in aige an stáit, it was completely against the wishes of the state, in the teeth of opposition, repressive opposition. Chuir tús le bóthar seoige, agus tá bóthar seoige fós ann agus ag fós freisin. Agus inis tá na páistí a bhí ann na seachtaí, tá siad in a príomh ide sa Gael Choláiste in Nire mar shampla. So you've got the son of one of the founders is principal of a Gael Choláiste in Derry. It's like a flower or a tree that grows and has branches. So there's tá spragu ann agus beidir fuinmh le a bhaineann leis na faibannaí in a le sa Tuaisceart. So the very conditions that were hostile to Irish created the conditions for some sort of resistance and enthusiasm. Agus comála sin on Carn mar shampla. So Carn Tucker, so you have Mahara and Carn Tucker side by side. This is just, towns in the north. And Rinne Gaeltacht Ella Fuin Tua. So you have a country, an attempt to rebuild a Gaeltacht that would have been there 8 bliain or 10 bliain hin. So it's like a rebuilding and an afheochan, a renaissance and a rebuilding of something that was there. The north was an Irish-speaking region. Ach, just the rare Cnílacha agus on star Tuaisceart na Éirinn, it gives it like an edge, and that edge seems to make the work a little easier. Ach in Neisceart na Tíre, in a will, allegedly, gach Oíche ann den Gaeilge, tan rialtas céad fan géad gach, gach party folachul go thomláin I bhábhar na teanga. You've got this great pro-Irish national sentiment, and yet it's not happening. So, Philomí the Rash cheist múna na Gaeilge. It comes back to it. Agus comála sin áisinaí, tá tú caint faoi saol sosiálta Gaeilge. I Tuaisceart na Éirinn tá acmhainní ann, tá fordignamh. So you've got a network of cafes and places you can go and speak Irish when you come out of school. But what happens when you come out of a Gaelscoil or a Gael Choláiste? Agus ní láitir bé ach amháin, Talbhacht, you've got a great place in Tala. You've got, Oíche unad sa Ulscoil Gaeilge. You've got a handful, literally a handful of places in the whole of Ireland to speak Irish in a relaxed way.
Beidir go méid le cultúlan a bheith I gach baile sa tír le sé go híntaach le cultúlan onid a méid daoine in ann, dul bula le chéile agus an Gaeilge labhairt le sé go híntaach ceapam.
Beic sé sin go híntaach agus chomála sin tá seanach charlam agus bíonn sé gobar leis na cór Unite Forsa agus áitní mar sin. Agus bhí carn mór airgid acu, beidir 8-10 bliain hin, agus bhí siad ag smaoineamh céir dhéanamh míad leis. Agus an rud a bhí siad ag smaoineamh ná fordignamh a ceannach mar shampla. So just invest in the Irish on mion Éirinn ach goni, we'll invest in bricks and mortar and we can't go wrong. Land, housing. Ach, don't make na chóir coming in now, don't make gach can all ray grade than the sale na Éirinn. So you'd have the trade unions buying buildings here and there and maybe opening some of them up for an Irish speaking environment. Tá Fíbín, taréis, Fíbín in Galway, very important initiative they have on Taibhearc in Gaeilge, and they have a cafe sheer in Acala Indrawan. So they've opened up a cafe in a former pub. Before nuair tá áisne ar fáil agus tá fuinmh ar fáil, nuair a chuireann túd le chéile é bíonn daoine, walú, malan sé daoine. People are attracted, energy attracts energy. And the energy of initiatives like Fíbín and others seems to start up the engine a bit and get people going.
Agus, just mála leis an Tuaisceart arís, an bhfuil an ceart go bhfuil eán bhfuil cúpla díal seoir ag leabhart Gaeilge agus ag feilim an Gaeilge sa Tuaisceart.
Well, sin beidir an réimse is tábhachtaí faoi láthair go bhfuil drám mór míltach. Sin an áid sin bhfuil beidir an dul chun cinn is mó déanta le déanaí. So you have Linda Irvine in Newtonards road, with a long road connecting the centre of Belfast with Loyalist Belfast, East Belfast. Agus Linda Irvine, again, they have a building, they have a place. Agus hosig siad amach just, gamal, bug shave, a kind of lug anam nacha, coming at the Irish language in a way that wasn't going to immediately make local people feel like they were being assaulted with the Gael. Agus a niche on maid dini, like niche den on, like on maid dini tá giri Gaeilge a leabhart agus síú den arangani níl niche den on e cholínu. They have a hard time keeping up with the number of people who want Irish classes. Agus ní amháin sin ach nuair a bhí mise ann rinne mé cuairt orthu, there was a dinner meetup. So parents and small children eating a meal. It's a working class area. It's a working class area of Belfast, and it's hard times for people there often. So Rinnu, with imagination, they have made a series of Irish language meetups that aren't simply about the classroom. So you've got dinner with Irish for parents and children, small children. A brilliant combination. The kids are doing pictures and stuff on the floor with Irish teams, and the parents are learning Irish as they go along. And a local hostel for the homeless is cooking the food. So you actually are building what people call social capital out of the language in an area where you would think it wouldn't be happening. So Linda Irvine really she déanamh obair na gapfuil in East Belfast. Ach, tá go leor daoine ar an taobh sin den chathair ag feilim na Gaeilge, agus the myth, it's helping to lift some of the myths and attitudes about Irish that would have been among the Protestant population for historic reasons, I guess.
Tá sé suimiúla fad. An mu sé ceart rá gur tharla beidir aistriú teanga sa tír seo, that a language shift, a big language shift occurred in this country, more than anywhere else, perhaps.
Yeah, like agus nóir bhí is a kind faoin teanga, ní féidir an ábhar sin a haghaidh. We really need to talk about the history of the Irish language. We really need to talk about the trauma associated with the fastest language shift, probably the fastest language shift in the history of humanity. Tá tú an caint faoi teanga a bhí, bhí chulainn ag caint Gaeilge sa tír seo 7-8 géad bliain ó shin. Bhí fórmhór na níní fós ag caint Gaeilge go dtí an 19. So I'm sure an Ghorta War, you know, sa níl hís déag, hánig ahrú, hánig burda, absolute acceleration on an aistriú teanga. Agus ní amháin go raibh daoine gaistriú teanga, ach bhí an saoil go thomláin scrista acu. So you're not even just talking about an immigrant that goes to a country and learns a language out of necessity. You're talking about an entire social structure coming tumbling down on people and an absolute devastation arising from occupation, land, loss, famine, emigration. So imachordam se ní churlamid on béim gomachor horsey mar sin. Ceirt we starna teanga. Imachordam se bachor go méid starna teanga mar ear over the fáistí agus the guine óga. So I really think there should be a kind of a preparatory course, the type of course that North Americans do when they visit here and come to universities in the summer. You can do an Irish kind of Anglo, I don't know what they call it, Irish studies, Irish cultural studies. Agus tusníonn sé le cuasaí star na tíre. So you learn about why there was an aistriú teanga, why there was this incredibly sudden accelerated language shift in which people were punished for speaking, children punished for speaking the language their parents, their mother tongue. You know, it is absolutely tubishtock, catastrophic. And that psychological impact does not go away. You know, Lana sé raig ó glúin go glúin. Ach ní maithling breanúir sin. You know, we don't like to look at that because that's holding up a mirror to issues that are potentially conflictive today.
Agus is cuian am nár bhí mé an óig agus bhí an focail geirseach á úsáid ag maidir. No, he used the word geirseach. Now he would have claimed he wasn't an Irish speaker, but it was somewhere there in his biology. You could say it was passed on. Irish was there.
Sinné agus ceapam nach bhfuil an dóchan tuiscint a going faoin biology agus an intersection of their biology agus biography. In other words, you know, scale on tail agus star on you know, star on phobal. So that link between a people and an individual story as it goes forward is something that's quite new, and ceapam go bhfuil golóir taide ó dhéanamh faoin Holocaust mar hampla. And you know, on tlí ina leanan on duchar agus an pian sin a raig tríd na glúinte. It's a new area, it's a relatively new area of study. And ceapam go méid, you know, beidir again, Íteach simúl agus tá go leor, you know, níl an tuiscint omlán a going, you know, tá tuiscint cóisríonta maidir leis on biology and biography and the manner in which these things condition us, that it's and I guess I direct these comments at the non-Irish speaker. It's that we have to consider a whole range of psychological issues before we even approach the Irish language without getting bogged down in them. But by recognizing them, we can move forward. Instead of having, you know, agus tá na clichés a gcónaí mar a géan a gachil a bhuine, you know, nuair a cluisean daoine bí me caint gaige le mo wach féile tá 3 bliain díos aige. So Tom sa Parksbury, inevitably, somebody hears and says, God, it's lovely you're speaking. Isn't it wonderful you're speaking Irish to your child? I wish I could have learned it. And then what do we hear? The Múntóir, the Droch Múntóir. We have the awful teacher. We have the batter oil, you know, and I wouldn't make light of it, but, you know, we have the physical punishment, depending on the age group. We have the Irish is a uniquely difficult language argument. We have the I don't have a conúnt anyway, you know, even if I learned this language, sure, they wouldn't understand me in Donegal or Munster, depending on the conúnt. And it just, you know, tá si go súil le duine nach bhfuil géirí tasky, and if you know go leis céil faoin na Gaeilge is bralam na Gaeilge. I love the teenagers, but you know Gaeilge I can't actually do that right now because I'm really busy looking at the window. Agus tuige mé sin ach we must also move on and say what happened when I was, a certain age in school, providing it wasn't completely abusive, I can actually move to a position where I'm gonna take this damn thing for myself because it's mine. It's not belonging to my school and my teacher and my past experience.
Michael, go raibh míle maith agat, bhí sé go híntaach ag leabhar leat agus ag éisteach leat agus tásúil agam b'fhéidir am éigean sa topaicí go múla míle lena chéile arís. Go raibh míle maith agat.
Fáilte rud an go míle maith agat hain, Nóirí. Slán.